Welcome everyone to this month's session of Spiritual Questions Answered with CordyKet. And today's topic is haunted homes, objects, and people. Okay, in case some of you don't know me, my name is Kat. I'm the co-founder of CordyKet together with my wife. So my wife's name is Cordelia, Cordy for short. I am Kat. So together we are known as CordyKet. And we have been teaching and providing services related to subtle energies and spirituality since 2010. And related to the topic that we are about to talk about today is even, I would say, a large portion of the work that we do is helping people deal with evil spirits, black magic, those kind of stuff, right? So if you're wondering why am I speaking on this subject, whether do I have the credentials to speak on it? So just to share a little, if you don't know us, so how did this come to be? Everything started with Cordelia back in 2008. Cordelia was a normal person, right? In her late 30s, and she was pursuing a change in her career, and she received during the process, somehow, in 2008, she received Kundalini awakening, a really powerful Kundalini awakenings, and she went from being a normal person to someone who can see things, hear things, feel things, invisible things that go bump in the night, okay, bump in the dark, right? And she had to learn she fumble her way around to understand this invisible world whereby there are spirits, both good and bad. And it was quite an experience. She ended up being possessed by demons, and she was a black magic. And she also met the good spirits and all. So it was very interesting experience. If that's how things came to be, and she recovered from it, recovered from the possession, with black magic, and ever since then she's been helping people deal with it, and I learned from her. Okay, so that's a short story. If you're interested, the book is available on Amazon. It's called Possessed. She wrote her story into a book, a memoir, right? The title is called Possessed: From Darkness to Light. Her name is Cordelia Lee. All right, so you can search Possessed from Darkness to Light. Kindle version is available. Google Play Books is also available as an ebook, right? Otherwise, getting a soft copy is good. So so today we are about to talk about this topic that is almost always talked about or portrayed by Hollywood. Yes, the Hollywood is always the horror movies. You always have this. It's either haunted homes, haunted objects. What kind of haunted objects? Usually, like The Conjuring, it's usually the dolls, right? And also people, right? So, but most of it, I think, most of the genre tends to feature more of haunted homes and objects, and then people. So, I'm going to share with you all my real life experiences and why do things happen the way they happen? Why do homes end up being haunted? Objects being haunted, people being haunted, and what is more common in on the field that I've encountered so far. So, so first thing that I want to talk about is haunted homes. So, if you guys have any questions, you can type on the chat and I will address them later. So let me try and explain everything, and if you still have questions, you can ask, or you can still ask, and I'll try to see whether I miss out or not in my explanation. So the first thing is haunted homes, and so usually haunted homes means very simple. There are spirits, whether evil or not. Usually spirits, ghosts, right? Ghosts, lost souls. So spirits can be evil. So normally we call the ghosts lost souls. It means people who departed, but their souls didn't return home, right? And they are left on earth. And these spirits, they are attached. So the key point is attached to the home or place. It's attached to the home or the place. So we're going to differentiate these haunted homes, objects, and people as in when we compare to objects, these spirits or whatever, they are attached to the objects. All right, the attachment is to the objects. So like in The Conjuring, it's supposed to be like the dolls, right? So you've got all those horror movies. And this one, the attachment will be to the people. So this is the difference when we talk about whether it's haunted homes or objects or people. So the attachment is to people, all right? So attachment is to people. Now, why the question here is this: why is there attachment to the home or to a place by the spirits? What causes it? Okay, so let me give an example of a haunted place I went to. So I brought Cordelia. Those of you who don't know, okay, Cordelia and I were based in Malaysia, okay, and I brought Cordelia to Penang State, to Nibong Tebal. Nibong Tebal. Those of you who have heard of Nibong Tebal. In Nibong Tebal, so there's a lot of plantation, and I brought Cordelia there for a holiday. We went to see some fireflies, and there is a famous abandoned building in the midst of all plantations, and it's a very old building. So it's like very old. I think it's maybe before World War II or that kind of, it's really very old, and it's abandoned. And it's supposed to be the manor of, I don't know, maybe some English man. I forgot the name of the manor already, but maybe you guys can Google. So we went there, and we just want to take a look because it's free for people to walk around. I'm not sure whether it's still free for people to walk around. And we went up, and we noticed that there were spirits lingering around the place. And of course, it's not our first time encountering it. What was interesting is the spirits that were there, most of the spirits that were there at the place were spirits usually from the time of that place before it got abandoned. So it was like from the time, so it's like a past. And if you were clairvoyant, you will be able to see them. You will be able to see those spirits, like because it was an old building, colonial building, like British Empire time. So they were, the ghosts were, if they have clothing, they were of that kind of time zone, and that was in Nibong Tebak. And other places where we've encountered, like no, not like we really, we're not like those paranormal teams and just purposely go. But if we do happen to go a place, and sometimes we will walk around, and we just, just to satisfy our curiosity, and sometimes we are also called upon to, by our clients to help remove evil spirits from places, from homes like that. Now, another interesting place that we went was Taiping. Those of you who are from Malaysia, you know Taiping, the old town Taiping. And many years ago, we conducted retreat in Taiping, and we also walk around Taiping. And Taiping is a very old town. I'm not sure whether it's a city now. And during the World War II era, there were a lot of massacres around that area, and there are a lot of deserted buildings. And again, the buildings are very old, at least World War II era. And there were empty buildings like at the Lake Gardens, and we walk around, and then we just walk around and pay attention to the spirits and see what they are like. And most of them, they come from the old time, from the past, and they are pretty much, one thing is, very interesting is they are stuck. They're usually stuck pretty much in that kind of past, and it seems that they are reliving their past and kind of repetitive behavior. So the thing is, it tends to happen this way with the homes, right? Now the other kind of attachments to homes. Now the main thing is is this. The big question is why? So normally, right, like in those cases, it's usually because they used to live in the building, live in the home, all right, or they died there. They died there. So we are trying to understand why. So usually it's they have attachment. They either live there or they died there, or they're looking for someone important to them there. All right, someone important to them. So it could be like it could be like someone died and they went to the place trying to look for their wife, their children, but they have left and they don't know how to find them. So you have this kind of situation. All right, so usually it's live, died, or someone important, and they're looking for someone important. And this point here, died, um, is something that is notable because if someone died a tragic death, all right? So tragic death, like murder, suicide, right? Usually have high negative emotions or energy, right? Associated with that place, and then they stay there. So this is one of the causes, but this tragic death, once it has this high negative emotions or energy, now this one can come from a variety of reasons. All right, it's not necessarily tragic death. So this is a very key thing that causes places or homes to be haunted. So these are the normal reason, and they are stuck. Someone died. But what is interesting are other places whereby the place itself has high negative emotions or energy, and it could be due to something like bad feng shui, bad past, all this tragic death. Okay, and new spirits will move into that area. All right, so spirits can move in. This can cause spirits to move in. They are attracted because naturally all these spirits, if they are they're generally negative spirits. Okay, we have a clear classification. All right, those who are lingering and everything, they are all practically generally negative. It's not like some of you, if you're Chinese, you watch like Hong Kong movies. They talk about happy ghost or Casper. Those things don't really exist, right? As a ghost, they're all negative. So negative spirits, they're attracted to negative energies, and somehow something may have happened that caused the place to have negative energies, and this is one of the most common reasons, right, for a place to become haunted. Now, sometimes it need not be like tragic death. Something which is very common is arguments, fights, abuse, right? Unknown to some people, a lot of people don't expect it. If in the home there are a lot of arguments and fights and abuse, whether it's physical abuse, mental abuse, verbal abuse, right? There's a lot of negative energies. That place, that home, can become a haunted home or haunted place. Okay, so this is usually what normally happens. Now, other times it happens is it could be due to what I've encountered is rituals, especially dark rituals, the dark type, were done at the place. So dark rituals, again, they cause negative energies and it attract. All the rituals can sometimes open a portal. So I think I had a case, I'm not sure, was it last year? I think it was last year. I had a case whereby this lady, right, she was introduced to me because some people who were sensitive and clairvoyant went to a home and they could sense there was something wrong with her kitchen. They could feel some very strong negative energy coming from her kitchen. So so I was asked to go and check it out and see what I can find out and do about it. So I went there and I discovered there was a portal there, and I even pointed out where the portal was for her, and so that she can try to sense it. And she was a little bit sensitive, and she could feel it, right? And I traced the portal to dark ritual energies that was done there. So she built like a dry kitchen. So I think it used to be outdoors, but then she paved everything and built a dry kitchen over the area. So what I found out was that place used to be outdoors, and the previous owner. So it turned out that she bought her father. Her father bought the place over from a previous owner, and the previous owner was doing dark rituals, and the dark rituals opened the portal, and you can see the rest is history. So other people will get the creeps when they go to a house. Now the house looked wonderfully maintained, all very clean and everything. Yes, but because of the presence of these spirits and ghosts, it caused a lot of problems to relationships in the home, right? It caused, yeah, the people who live in the home, they generally had very negative temper, depression, and there were a lot of fights. It affects the marriage. So all the people who stayed there, the marriages and relationships were all no good. So that was one of the example of a ritual that opened the portal. And what I did was, well, basically I removed the portal. All right, I removed the portal, and the homeowner could sense it, and then I cleansed the home and remove all the spirits, and then heal everyone, make sure their light and everything is okay, so that they can continue staying in the home, right? So this is an example of a haunted home. Now, and another reason which is very common, right, is because the house has been left empty. All right. So usually, most haunted homes, all right, or haunted buildings is usually, it's kind of like left empty. The people left, and it gets the creeps, and everyone was, people will say it's haunted, but it's true. Now, why is this so? Normally, of course, usually it's left empty due to some experience, but it could be something very simple, such as financial failure or whatever, right? And people moved out. So they move out, and once humans leave, so humans are supposed to have positive energies and invisible light that are positive energies with them. So once humans leave, there'll be no positive energies in that place, and it's easy for negative energies to accumulate, and then the spirits will go and move in. So that is one of the reasons why empty buildings, empty homes and places tend to have the spirit, because where there are people, all right, people are supposed to have invisible light. All right. For those of you who don't know, we teach people to do a light meditation to strengthen this light, which will help protect them from all these evil spirits. And when people move out, it's left empty, then the spirits will move in because there's no more light, positive energy in that place. And this is normally what happens. So this is more or less most of the reasons, right, why homes can become haunted. Let me see. So now there is a there is also a so-called theory that ley lines, someone is asking, right? Ley lines can cause this problem. Actually, I don't find that it's so, because ley lines are energies, energy pathways of the earth. Now, if you happen to be a place with ley lines, it's actually good as strong energies, but for some people it may not be so good. So different people interpret it, but to actually find out whether ley lines are good, people like me, I have to go down to the place and check what kind of ley line is it. Is energy suitable for the inhabitants? And in general, the ley lines do not cause places to be haunted. All right. So someone was asking over there. Okay. So just a story of haunted homes. Okay, a real case. So I think late last year, one of my senior students in community healing, right? So we teach people to become healers and to do light work, the kind of work that we do. One of the senior students reached level 9, and two of them, they reached level 9 and they qualify to follow me along as I do work for clients, right? So I had a senior student follow me, and I'll just relate his experience, okay? Because for me, all this experience is just, I do it all the time. It's no big deal. So we went to a place quite far away from KL. Where is it? It's yeah, I can't remember, but it's near the sea area. Banting. Okay, it's called Banting. So we were called to a place whereby one of the occupants, right? One of the occupants was going cuckoo and say he's been hearing voices and he's under psychiatric medication. He asked us, and the family, his younger brother, asked us to go, and he heard about us, recommended by a friend who I did work for and everything. So we went there. Now, so I just described. So I'm just training this senior student. So the first thing, we went to a house. It's a very nice house, right? And they asked me to park my car inside, and I told this senior student A. I told A, okay, now before we went, we actually prepared ourselves, meditate and do qigong, right, and prepare ourselves energetically, because we're going to a place with this problem, and there's actually people hearing voices and experiencing all this spiritual activity. So I told him, okay, but the car is going in, observe, feel the sensation. And as I reversed my car into the parking slot, the garage, right? Yeah, he could clearly sense it. He could say, wow, it's like entering a different zone. And outside it's feeling very good, but once it entered, it was feeling so terrible. But the house was big and span, very nicely renovated, and we go in and we hear the stories, and then of course we do our work. He was the trainee, and he did a decent amount, and I followed up everything, and the whole thing changed. Right, the whole energy of the area changed, and then we did the healing on the people who stayed there, and basically everything went very well. A few months later, we heard from the client who recommended that family to come and see us that the family was very happy because the person who was going cuckoo, the voices all died down, and he was becoming more and more normal. and the life of everyone was getting better. The dad managed to find a job. It's not worked for decades, and he, because we did the cleansing and everyone was feeling very positive, and somehow he just up and went and find himself a job, and things were going well for the family. Now that was one case, and it was in a very nice house. Very nice house, spick and span, nicely renovated. The people who stayed there, they look quite well to do. Okay, and then we went to another case, a home that was left empty. All right, left empty. So we called to deal with another case, haunted home. So it was left empty, and the reason they left empty was because the old folks that were living there, their neighbors were pretty scary. All right, the house next door was left empty, right, and all the while they have all these stories about spirit disturbance and everything. And when the neighbor moved out, so these two old folks also they moved out, right? And so end up their home is kind of haunted, and they only go back once in a while to get their stuff, but their stuff is all there. So we were called to go to the empty place and then to deal with all the spirits. And basically there was a portal. There was a portal next door, right? So we had I had to close the portal, deal with all the spirits, and so the senior student A was with me. And after doing both these cases, he was this house that was left empty. It totally looked like a haunted house because the grass was overgrown and dust was everywhere, cobwebs, and it looked like a house because the old folks just left the house and everything was like, all the stuff are still there. It's like people just ran out of the home and just left things as they are. It totally, if it's a Hollywood movie, you look at it, it's like, wow, this is like serious haunted home, right? And the people were so haunted, they just left the home in a hurry, right? Everything is still there, everything is still working. But, okay, now this is not me saying, but A was saying this, he was telling me this. He found it very strange. This place that was left empty, that had a portal, right? That had a portal there, it was not as bad as the other place where people were living there. There was an entire family living there, and it was all nice and clean, and the energies were much worse. The number of spirits were much worse at the place whereby there were people staying there. He was, to him, I mean, it was a new experience. To me, it has nothing to do with, I don't look at a place whether it's nice, it's new, it's people know people, but yes, just to let you have a feel of it. So if it's left empty, it can get to, the spirits can move in, but it doesn't mean that if there are people, the spirits won't move in. It's a very complicated thing, and I hope to address it, when we come to haunted objects and haunted people. All right, so this is the case for haunted homes and some case studies that I did. Now, haunted objects is normally attachment to objects. And the favorite, I think, in Hollywood is the dolls, right? Right, the dolls. Now, again, the big question is why? Why would a spirit or spirits want to attach itself to an object? This is something that most people don't know, and I would like to explain it to you all. Okay, so again, a very common thing is usually because there is a ritual involved, a dark ritual. Okay, a dark ritual involved. The object may have been used to perform black magic, and normally black magic they will try to invoke or summon a spirit or get a spirit to bind it. So normally there's ritual, there is a binding element. Now the binding element is important because, look, spirits are like us. Nobody wants to be, attached to an inanimate object and just wherever the inanimate object goes, we have to follow it, right? There is no freedom. So even spirits, right? All these evil spirits and ghosts and so on, they want their freedom. So if there's attachment to such thing, there is normally a ritual done, a binding, right? Either there's a binding or there's a seal. Now, when I say a seal, it may not mean the door. So there are objects. Some people call it some like boxes or some items, whereby it could be like genie in a bottle, right? Some people, there are some practitioners, they will seal evil spirits inside the container, right? And there are things known as the book box, I think, if I spell it correctly, right? I think it's spelled the book. Um, I think so. If I get the spelling wrong, doesn't matter. But it doesn't matter what it's called. So there are people, there are practitioners whereby they create all these things and they bind or they seal the entities there. Some it can be done for a good reason, like they want to try and prevent the evil spirit from harming other people. Some is done for evil reason because they are doing black magic with it, and on the doll is used to do something like voodoo on another person. So usually this is one of the reasons that cause the entities, the spirits to be attached. And this is usually, right, under this condition is involuntary. All right, this is normally involuntary force. The spirits are forced to do so. Now, there is another reason, all right, which is most people don't know, is whereby they are not forced. That means the spirits choose, right, choose by their own free will to attach themselves to objects. And the big question is why? All right. So it's spirits by their own choice, by choice, they attach. One common thing that the spirits like to do when they do this is they attach to prayer items or idols. Oh, yes. Prayer items or idols or symbols. Why? So there's this thing going on that, especially in some practices, people like to pray to objects, and they can pray to idols of their divine. But when you're praying to idols of divine, does not necessarily mean that the divine presence, the divine spirit is in the object. And the evil spirits know that. So what they do is they go inside the idols, and when you pray to the idols, all right, most people just pray to the idols. It's like, praying to this particular god or deity, but you're kind of praying to the idol, not really to the god or deity, because you need something visual, something in the flesh, something material to pray to, and you focus on praying to the idol, right? But the evil spirit is there, and the evil spirit will just treat it as if you are praying to it. And if you pray to it, you're asking for its help. And if you ask for its help, right, you are kind of there are rules in all these spiritual rules whereby it can try to help you and at the same time take a price from you, take a payment from you. All right. So what they do is they enter all these prayer items or idols or symbols so that people pray to them. And when people pray to them, what the evil spirits do, evil spirits are essentially this. All spirits are energy with consciousness. And because they are not benevolent, right? They have no qualms to take energy from the people who pray to them. So they go inside all these prayer items or symbols. When people pray to them, they start taking energy from the people who pray to them. And it's pretty common. It's pretty common. So, like in Malaysia, there are people who like to pray to stuff at the roadside. If there was not a proper divine blessings ceremony done to invoke the divine presence, these are not good places to pray, because you don't know, normal people don't know whether you're praying to an evil spirit or benevolent spirit inside. And if it's an evil spirit, the spirit will start taking your energy, right? And your positive energy will decrease. And when your positive energy decreases, it's no good for you, right? You will become more and more negative, and more evil spirits can affect you. So generally, that's what's going to happen. So prayer items is one. Another kind, right, which we always see in Hollywood, are the dolls. These two does happen. Oh, let me talk about this a real life case, okay, about these prayer items and dolls. So let me take a Cordelia's case. So Cordelia had a case whereby the client realized that there is an evil spirit in the idol that he was praying to. That he I think it was she was praying to, and she got she got very concerned, right? So she don't want to pray to the idol which has evil spirit inside anymore. And then you know what she did? She take the idol and throw it in the rubbish bin. Throw it in the rubbish. And she thought that was it. But the entity, right, the spirit, is evil spirit, got angry and then start disturbing her, and then a Cordelia was called to intervene. Okay? So so you get things like this. And I have cases whereby my clients could tell that there's something wrong, right? And even though their homes are haunted and they have an altar at home and they're still praying, but actually if your home is haunted and you have all this nasty spiritual activity and you have an altar, that means your altar with all these prayer items, idols and symbols, if you're praying there, most likely you're not praying to the divine. You may be praying to the evil spirit. So you need to be very careful. So to deal with this, normally I advise people, if you're really praying, you need to be very clear you are praying to the divine. And if you have a particular ritual or mantra associated with the prayer, you should do the ritual or mantra. So what do I mean, right? If you're a Buddhist, if let's say you're praying to Guan Yin, the goddess of mercy, Guan Yin has a mantra which is Om Mani Padme Hum. So you should chant Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. You chant, and you be very clear you are praying to Guan Yin, all right, the goddess of mercy. Let's say if you're a Christian, they will do a certain ritual in the name of the Father and Son and the Holy Ghost, and then you recite the Lord's Prayer, and then you pray. You got to do that, and you make sure you direct your prayers to the divine, and be very clear, and that you're not praying to the item or the symbol, all right? And I was taught by my family, right? And somehow the way I was taught to pray is we try to do this mantra thing and be very clear, right? We address the prayer or whatever request, we address it to the divine, to the particular divine name. So a lot of people, they just pray to the idol and as if they are talking to God or the deity, and you're talking to the idol and symbol. If there's an evil spirit there, the evil spirit will be, okay, I'm loving it, and the evil spirit will take your energy. All right. So this is something that many people need to take note of. It's I think it's a more serious problem than these dolls. Now, dolls is another thing that happens, but the question is why? Why? Now, how many of you have owned dolls or soft toys? Right? Raise your hands. Yes. So some of you say yes, right? And how do you treat your soft toys? Do you notice how you treat your soft toys? I have here with me a cushion. All right, let's say it's a soft toy, it's a doll, right? You treat it like a cushion, and you're like, oh, and you bring it and you hug it, right? And you embrace it. Now, this is where the spirits know of how humans do. So when we do this, when we embrace it, you are like embracing and taking in and allowing ourselves to merge, and our energies to merge and take it in. So what some evil spirits do by choice, and not because they are bound or they're forced to do so, they enter such objects or stuff, so that when people hug them, right, people are kind of accepting and bringing the evil spirits into their space, into the body, and then some people will feel sick after. This is one of the reasons why they do this, why they attach themselves to dolls, for example, to soft toys. And it's by choice, not by binding, not by seal. Another reason they do it is very interesting. So I don't have space, so I'm going to write the other reason. All right. Get past protection. So some places are protected from evil spirits, so to speak. So you can imagine like there's a force field surrounding maybe a home, a place of worship, right? And the evil spirits by themselves, they cannot enter, they cannot pass through the force field. So what the evil spirits will do is they will enter an object, right? It can be a cushion, it can be anything. In some a traditional scenario that is given in the Taoist by the people who practice Taoist way is they can follow an umbrella. They hide themselves in an umbrella, right? That's one of the things. But actually, it doesn't matter, any object. So the evil spirit will go inside the object, and a human will bring the object past the force field, right? So let's say you have a force field, right? By themselves, the evil spirit cannot enter. So this is the Pac-Man ghost, all right? By themselves, they cannot enter. But if the evil spirit gets inside an item, this item is brought inside, it can enter. So some of the evil spirits will do that. So let's say they want to get inside some place, right? And they can't enter by themselves. They can go inside your bag, your water bottle, and then they enter a home. All these things are actually happening without most people knowing. Okay, so this, but of course, they don't end up being haunted. So most of the case of haunted is due to this or this. But yes, sometimes they when they try to get past protection, it's normally just for a while because they're not forced to. They just want to get in, so they hitch a ride, right? They hitch a ride onto an object and then they get in. So this kind of scenario is not something that most people are aware of. But those of you who know, if you come to my place, my place is a place with certain energy protections, right? And I'm aware of the way they can get past the protections, but we have other protections to deal with this. All right, so I'm just saying, right? So why sometimes they do it this way, okay? Now the most important thing is the last scenario, attachment to people. All right, and the big question is why. So the big whys essentially fall into two categories. Person is negative. All right, it's of negative energy. and you will attract all these negative spirits to you. So they like your energy because they are negative, you are negative, all right, and then they will, they'll come to you. Okay. Another reason is the person is a sensitive, energy sensitive, is an energy sensitive. Right? I did mention in one of the talks, what if you are, an energy sensitive, an empath medium, a channel, empath. Now these people, they can make contact with the spirits, the spiritual realms, and for that reason, the spirits will love them and the spirits will attach themselves to these people. All right? And now, the reason they go to these people is because these people, they can make contact, and the spirits can even take control over these people. They can even, like if it's a medium, the spirit can take control of the person, and then the person will be subject to the control and the maneuverings of the spirit, right? So they have more fun when they affect all these people. So these people tend to experience it more. But in general, right, if you're not under this, it's usually normally is because you are negative and you have some energies that attract them. So it can be such a scenario. Let's say you're very unhappy. You could be depressed. The person could be depressed. Now, so the person has negative energy, and this person could be depressed, and the energy could be, it's vibrating and sending out certain signals. And an evil spirit with similar signal will find that this person will be very drawn. So, for example, someone who's heartbroken, right? In a relationship, and is feeling very sad, very negative, and could end up attracting a spirit of someone who committed suicide due to being heartbroken. And what's going to happen? The spirit was so heartbroken that it committed suicide, and then it will go to the person who's heartbroken, and then will try to affect the person, whisper in the ear, give suggestions, like NLP, like neuro-linguistic programming, send subliminals into the person's mind, and try to get the person to commit suicide by perhaps dying the same way, jump off the balcony or something like that. All right, so this can happen. Or it could be someone is very negative because that person has very bad temper, and you attracted an entity who has very strong anger and hatred. It could even be a demon, all right? It could even be a demon. And the demon will love you, because if you are you're so temperamental, you're causing fear in your family and your workers and your colleagues, and it can feed off all these negative energies, and the demon will stick with the person, right? These are the two normal categories that tend to happen. But regardless of it, the entities like to attach to people because they want energy. They want energy from people. Now, how does that happen? So in general, this is a person. If we are positive and we are all healthy, including energetically healthy, we are supposed to have 7 chakras. All right, 7 dots. Those of you who know the chakras, the 7 chakras will form the aura, and this aura will keep negative energies, including entities, away from us. It will also keep, for example, negative feng shui energies away from us, and that's why I normally tell my feng shui clients, if you don't want to go for a feng shui solution, all you need to do is learn our light meditation and Unity Qigong, which currently we teach online for free donation basis, and you strengthen your energies and you don't get affected by negative energies, including negative feng shui energies, right? Now, Now the point is this. Now, so we are supposed to have this light that's protecting us, and if everyone has this light and you stay in a place, right? These are positive energies that all the evil spirits don't like. But most people are not positive all the time. We have arguments, we have ups and downs, right? We have good days, we have bad days. Now, what's going to happen is, let's say we have a bad day, and maybe we have an argument, and then we are moody, and then we have negative energy, right, in us or in the chakras. It's going to cause holes in the aura, all right? And the evil spirit will be able to, right? This is an evil spirit. The evil spirit, if the hole is small, they can send. So let's say that the hole is initially very small, very small. Okay, initially the hole is just very small. The evil spirit cannot enter. But what the evil spirit does is it will send some subliminal messages, some energies, right? And it will send some thoughts into you, right? Into the person. Let's say you have an argument with your wife, and then the spirit will say, "Look at that stupid woman, you know, she's always like that, and she's a, you know, she's a bee, and instigate more anger, and this person will generate more negative energies, all right? And what does evil spirit do? The evil spirit is going to take in all these energies, all these negative energies, right? It's going to take in, and the evil spirit will become bigger because the spirit is of energy. It wants energy, so you cause people to be more negative, and you keep on feeding it. And what's going to happen is the light is going to shrink. So the light is originating like this, and you know, over a few cycles, the light will be smaller and smaller, and the light will be less and less able to keep negative energies as far away from you as possible, especially when normal people don't know how to replenish their positive energies and don't know how to stay positive. And this normally ends up in a vicious cycle whereby you get negative, you attract negative evil spirits to you, the evil spirits will make you more negative, and it becomes a vicious cycle, and sooner or later, you know, things just things at home with the person, they just become more and more negative. And even if the person is not negative in general, it can be an opportunistic evil spirit that does this, and the person can be a normal person because evil spirits want energy from people. They are opportunistic, then you cause the person to be negative, and then the person will attract more and more evil spirits. This is usually what happens, right? Why the evil spirits are attached to people. And I think so far I don't see the Hollywood movies really understand this, so that's why they don't quite mention the reasons for people having entity attachments. They usually give the more common scenarios is the person is related to the evil spirit, evil spirit is looking for vengeance. Yes, there's some of those. I don't really encounter them very much, but it's possible. You know, someone died and is trying to seek revenge on you because you know, maybe you are the one who banged into them in an accident or whatever. But I'm trying. So those things can happen, but this is what I encounter most often on the field. And I'm going to bring your attention back to this place, this haunted house. Remember, you know, I brought my senior student A, right? The first house is all nice. It's all nice and very well kept, and there are people living there. And he went to a place that was empty, and he found a place where there were people living there. The situation with the evil spirits was much, much worse. It's not just much worse, it was much, much worse. All right? The reason is due to this second reason. Because the people living in that house, they're all sensitive to energies. And they loved us because they could feel our work. The moment we did something, it's like, look, when I do something, right? When we do something, we are not your normal guys. We don't do the Taoist way, bring a wooden sword, burn paper talisman, or we keep chanting. No, it's all invisible. We use invisible energies to deal with invisible spirits, and they're so sensitive. I remember the mother and the brother, they followed us upstairs, because not, and we said, okay, we go to, because the house was a few stories tall. I think it was 3 stories. I think, I can't remember. And the father and the brother, who was a little bit mental, stayed downstairs, and so that we won't be distracted. So we went upstairs and we did the work. The brother who's okay, and the mother followed us. And the moon, we did the work, and there's nothing to see. I'm just here, and I sent invisible energies to deal with it. And me and my senior student A, we did it, and they could feel everything, and they were like, "Wow!" They were so impressed. It's like there's nothing to see physically, but invisibly they could feel everything. And because they are these energy sensitive, they belong to these categories, and because they belong to these categories, they will attract spirits to them. So I find a lot of cases that I do is due to this type of reason or this type of reason. And yes, there are those other reasons, maybe like the Hollywood one, but in my experience, those are minor cases. The number of cases from those is actually very little. Okay, so with that, I have presented what I wanted to present to most normal people about this. I think this is also a huge problem nowadays. There's a lot of evil spirits wanting energy from people, right? So sometimes, even if you're not negative or you're not an energy sensitive, you can be a unlucky victim. Okay, so I'll be taking a look at your questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I will try to address all your questions before we call it a night. So we'll overshoot a little bit. So Edwin is asking on behalf of a friend. In the Ghostbuster 2016 movie, mentioned ley lines. Okay, so they said certain prominent places are haunted even though there's no death involved, but due to ley lines it exists naturally. So I've answered. So the ley lines, they are not actually a problem. All right. In fact, ley lines can be very good. Some of the ley lines have very good energies. So Evan again, how to change a high positive energy for haunted building? The simplest way is to engage a person who knows what they are doing. So the person will have to go. So a lot of times they have to check. I will have to check whether there's portals. Portals are quite serious, right? Remove all the entities, and then only we remove the portal. We remove all the spirits, and then we have to cleanse the energies, the negative energies that may be at the place, so that the negative energies do not attract more spirits after the work is done. And normally I will do some blessings or protection on the place to try and minimize the chances of that place attracting more evil spirits after it's cleansed. All right. So normally you have to engage someone who knows what they're doing. So so some people will of course engage their regular priests and whatever. So Aaron is asking, is the last room in any floor of hotel tend to be easily haunted? Okay, so yes, so there's this thing about haunted hotel rooms and everything. So again, those are usually tied to the past, someone who lived or died there, and either that or it's because it's left empty, right? So usually all these reasons can be intermingled. It could be left empty because someone died there, someone committed suicide, and usually all these hotel establishments, they may not know of professionals like us, right? And so they just lock up the room and just don't rent out the room and hope that the entities will be attached to that place, to that room. I've also done hotel cases. I've done hotel cases. Of course, it's all hush hush, and so it was a hotel cum service apartment that one of the cases, hotel cum service apartment, and including the car park. So they get a lot of activity, and I was asked to go there, and I went floor by floor, especially certain floors, especially those that have portals, right, to remove it. And yeah, and the client was quite interesting because so the client was manager of this hotel, and I met him because his wife engaged my services to do some energy healing and cleansing on her. And when I went to their place, the husband was there, and she asked me to do the husband, and then I discovered, hey, the husband has black magic energies on him, and it was very strange. And then and I traced it to his office. And apparently, his predecessor, the hotel was not doing well. His predecessor, the previous manager, engaged black magic to try and improve the business of the hotel. And because he's using the room, so he ended up being affected at having absorbed some of this black magic energy. And so he was trying all his ways. So he was trying to he engaged the priest too, right? He engaged the priest, and I think maybe different religions, and he also engaged me because he, and then we all did the work and everything. So yeah, that was a very interesting case too. The hotel case. Next mention. Question. Evan says, can put a strong beam of light at the portal to counter the negative vibration. No, nothing physical will really counter it. A lot of people think that like garlic. Usually physical objects don't really. Holy water, if it's really properly blessed and very, very powerfully blessed, there are people who use crystals. So it depends what kind of entity. So if the entities are very powerful, crystals, sage, smoke, incense, those can work for low level entities. But if you set a portal, and the portal is normally opened by a very high level evil spirit. It'll be like demon king or demon deity kind of level. And if you put something that's blocking the portal, it's going to get the fella very mad, and the fella will just will just deal with whatever you're trying to be able to counter. Okay, so Shirley is saying how to detect or see portal. Wow. You need to train. Okay, so people who learn Infinity, you eventually train. But I've got a few cases. I've got this case was very interesting. The client was an ex-classmate of mine, and he was renting his home to an ex-priest, an ex-Hindu priest, and so they're very good friends. So sometimes if the Hindu priest is not there, he'll go back to his home and stay. So I don't know what kind of arrangement is that. So what was interesting is he could feel there was something wrong. His was like a studio apartment because he's single, and there were rooms, but he just wanted to make it just one bedroom, and a lot of other spacious rooms. So it's kind of like a studio, just one bedroom. And he said that both him and his friend could never sleep in the bedroom. It's always very difficult, and they're always sleeping on the sofa. And he could sense all these evil spirits, and because he's been learning meditation, he learned to silence himself. And when he silenced himself, all the more he could tell that there are things at his place. So and I went there, all right, and I discovered that there was a portal in the bedroom next to the bed, and just below a light, something like fluorescent light. I don't think they use fluorescent light. Below a light, and he was saying, no wonder the light always spoils. They fix the light and the light will spoil again. So there was a portal underneath the light, and the portal was just right next to the bed, so nobody felt comfortable there. And so maybe for normal people, if you could feel like some strong energy vibration, it depends how sensitive you are, and the vibration doesn't move, all right, then it's a collection of strong negative energies. There's a chance that it can be a portal. All right. So Xiaofang is asking, what about empty rooms in the shared apartment? Better to have negative roommate than empty room nearby? Laugh out loud. So if you live in an apartment, and Xiaofang is from Shanghai, the apartments are generally not that big, right? So if you have people living there, even if there's an empty room, generally it's fine, because people, their aura is normally quite big if they're all positive people and their energies are strong. Of course, those who practice, like meditation, unity, qigong, and all that, your energy will then be stronger, right? Those of you who practice, you know that. So it's generally okay. So you can have like a storeroom. It won't matter that much, right? So try not to be paranoid. Usually it happens to like entire homes whereby there's a big space whereby there's no people around, and then the spirits decide to move in. Xiaofan is asking, what's the Chinese name of ley lines? Oh, sorry, I don't know the Chinese name of ley line. If anyone knows, you can type in the chat and advise Xiao Fang. So Joey is asking, empty house, can we put Buddha mantra player and play it? Will it chase away the spirits? Now, yeah, that's a good thing. Um, the thing is this: not all Buddha mantra songs have very positive energies. It depends on the people who sing it. And if you are sensitive to energies, or you train with us, or you do a lot of our practices, meditation and qigong, and you eventually become more exposed to all these energies, and you become more sensitive, you will notice that some prayer and songs, or all these mantras, have better energies because the people themselves who are chanting or singing, they themselves are of better energies or higher spiritual cultivation. And a lot of commercial ones, they are just paying, they're just getting, they're just paying, they're probably not paying, or they just get any Tom, Dick, and Harry to chant, and then it doesn't quite have the power. Okay, so it can work, but you need to get one whose energies are pretty good. Again, Edwin said, during emergency at sea, how to protect innocent people who boarded haunted small ship as sea entity is strong? Is there scientific device to detect the portal and entity? Okay, so the first question. So you're boarded at sea, and how to protect innocent people. You can go and look for one of my videos talking about spiritual emergencies and what you can do. But basically, one of my advice is, if you can get everyone together and everyone knows that there's evil spirit, then everyone will be convinced to try and do something about it in as a group. Then you can get everyone to pray together, especially you chant mantras of a particular religion, or say a particular prayer. If you're Christian, you can say the Lord's Prayer, right? So those are the kind of things, and you need to everyone do together, and you do it out loud, preferably. Okay. Edwin, again, is there any scientific device to detect the portal and the entity? Not that I know of. So the paranormal hunters, they have some devices that can detect some entities of some energies and frequencies, but they cannot detect everything. So usually they can only detect the low level ones. They can't detect the high level ones, because the high level ones can avoid being detected by our so-called technology. So again, Edwin is asking how to cleanse suspected sealed binded ritual object, especially for tourists, before purchasing the object. No, all these things with ritual binding is actually involve black magic and everything. Is actually very dangerous. You need to get it to someone who's skilled enough, and not even then, not everyone will be able to do it. So you can get a regular priest, and if the priest actually is doing this work, he or she will be able to gauge whether the level of the thing is higher than his or her level of spiritual cultivation and energy, right? It's not easy. This sort of stuff, please don't play with it. The evil spirits can be very powerful, and what is even more serious is the black magic and the dark rituals that bind it, right? As if you don't know, they can be booby traps. You open it, and then it casts a black magic spell on the person who opened it, like a curse, right? You all heard about, like they talk about curse of the mummy. The people open the pyramids or open the tombs, and then people start dying strange, really bad luck, and all those things are real. All right, and it can happen to items like this. So it's not for normal people. Please get someone who knows their stuff to deal with it. So Xiaofang says, so temples can be dangerous. Yeah, so you're probably referring to these prayers to idols and symbols. Now, if the temple is properly maintained, it should be okay. So everything depends on the caretaker of the temples. Usually, like if there are a lot of people who pray there, and the people who pray there are very faithful, very sincere of faith, normally it's okay. So I find that like places of worship, like churches or mosques, because they have huge congregation of people to pray together, and they say the prayers, like real prayers from their the Bible and the Quran, which have positive divine energies. It can be very powerful, and those are generally okay. And they don't use idols, because it's the other religions, and it may be a small temple, and then the caretaker, they have lost the knowledge of how to take care or how to do all these spiritual blessings and prayers, then it can be an issue. It can be an issue. But it's very hard to say. So normal people don't know. So just follow my advice. Make sure you chant your mantras, you do your prayers, and in your heart you direct your prayer not to the object, not to the idol or the symbol, but to the divine, and you say the divine's name, whether it's Jesus or an angel or Buddha or particular deity or God. Okay, do it that way. Again, Edwin, let me say, just curious, is it able to suck and lock the evil spirit like in Ghostbuster 2016 movie? Yes, so yeah, so it's not to say it sucked. So it's done during the ritual. So it's not like, once they use the ritual and the spells and to bind or to seal the evil spirit into the item, right? The item is sealed, and if you mess with it, it just opens and it doesn't suck it back in. It's not like Ghostbuster, you can activate it, activate and suck. No, it doesn't work that way. This thing is normally activated once because the spell, the ritual is done once, right? And then after it's done, if the spirit is inside already, then it can only be released or something like that. So you need someone to know their stuff, okay? So Xiaofang is asking, so we're talking about the dolls and everything, right? The entities may go onto the dolls, the soft toys. They want people to hug them. And Xiaofang is asking, then what about our bed and blankets? Yeah, it's possible. Bed, the mattress. Is it like a lot of people, they flop down on the mattress and you're surrendering yourself to the mattress. And some there have been I have cases whereby I've got a client, and I cleansed his I cleansed his bed for him, and he could feel the difference right after the cleansing was done. So they can do things like that too. So pillows too even. And Edwin is asking, is it not recommended to hang clothes in open space at night after washing? Yeah, so some people will have this they say it's the spirits may be out there, so it's not good to hang your clothes at night, and in case the spirit go into the clothes. Yeah, it's possible, that the spirit entered the clothes, and when you wear it, you end up wearing the spirit. But I've not encountered a case that is exactly like that. But it is possible based on what I understand, because the spirits can want to hitch a hike, and they want to get into items where people wear, people hug and receive into themselves. So it's a possible scenario, and I won't be surprised if it actually happened and people, old folks or our ancestors have some of this knowledge, and so they pass down this so-called old wives' tale or superstition. Yeah, so so it's anyway, you probably want to hang your clothes out there when there's a sun, all right? And the sun is usually, there are less evil spirits about when there's a sun, okay? Usually, yeah, it's a better option. So Abby is asking, isn't door god can block entity trying to get past protection? So Abby is asking, so in the Taoist practices, there's this thing about door god. And can a door god block the entity trying to get past protection? Only if the so-called door god is more powerful than the entity. All right. So entities, there are many levels. You can have a entity that's more powerful than the door god, and the door god will lose, and it's nothing. Or the door god may not even be aware that the evil spirit is there. So actually, door god is not very high level. Okay. So it can help, but only to a certain degree. Everyone is asking, is there a scientific device to detect how many spirits attached to the body of individual? Not that I know of, right? Again, some high-level entities you cannot detect at all using those devices. Usually, those devices are by paranormal hunters, and they can look for low-dimensional entities. There are also high-dimensional, sinister or malevolent entities. Those are virtually not detectable. And in fact, even for those people who are trained, who are psychics, who do this work, they may not even be able to detect them if they don't know what they're looking for. The spiritual realm is very complicated, and it's not it's not easy to navigate these spiritual realms. Okay, and Coral is saying, I think this happens to me. It is scary. And Coral raised a hand. So Coral, you want to share? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so when I did a reading with you, and I had already suspected this, but you had confirmed it for me that there was an entity attached to me. And for me, it's been manifesting as anxiety and depression. And so when you were just talking right now about the spirit, like if they attach to you, they can like tell you to, do things that you don't want to, like committing suicide. And for me, that happened to me. It started a couple of years ago where everything was going good in my life. I was living the way that I wanted to. I had an apartment, I had a boyfriend, I had a really good job, I had really good friends. Everything was perfect in my life. But at that same time, like there was something in my head that I knew wasn't correct. And at that time, it didn't manifest as depression yet, but there was a voice saying like, oh, you should just jump out the window. And I'm terrified of heights, so that was never a thought that I would normally have. And also not a thought that I would act upon at all. But it was quite scary, yeah, because I didn't know where it was coming from. And so I've been doing the light meditation, unity qigong. I've been trying to do every morning, and at night. And I guess like I'm wondering how I can tell if the thing is gone. Um, like I know it's still attached to me. I can sense it, but yeah, I don't know what else I can do to get it to go away, I guess. I don't know. I guess that's my question. Like, I don't know like what else I can do to send it to the light, and to just stop draining me. I feel a lot of the times really without energy. Yeah.
Yeah. So 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 if you want to learn some of the methods, some of the advice is in the older videos, and I don't want to drag out this talk. Um, so for coral situation, you will fall under this second category, right? You're a person who is sensitive to energies, and usually for such people, you really need to have some sort of spiritual practice or energy practice, and you need to work on becoming more positive, and you need to work on letting go of your negative experience or negative emotions. Work on You really need to do some work to become a better person. Otherwise you will be both. If you fulfill these both categories, then you attract um, more and more entities, right? But just this second reason alone is enough. And usually for such people, it's not easy for their lives because once they are such sensitive, spirits will keep coming for them. Spirits will keep coming for them.
Yeah.
And
I've been doing the qigong, and that's been helping a lot. And then doing the light meditation, and then sometimes manifestation afterwards.
yes,
Um, and recently doing the non-attachments as well, which is a lot harder, but I've been trying to keep to that practice that you've taught us. Some days are harder, but yeah, that makes sense to me.
so the whole idea is why we teach people our practices online is because, for example, some people cannot afford the fees to engage us professionally. So we believe in putting out our methods, and you will notice. I think Coral, you will notice that if you do all these practices, you will feel good because after you do these practices, you make your energies and your lights very strong, and then you will effectively push the entities away. Now the entities may not give up immediately, and it's still waiting for you to become negative and then come and attach itself to you because you are energy sensitive and you are prime target. All right. So the best way is we teach people. If you belong to this category, you try to do these practices daily on a daily basis, and you need to work on becoming a better person, a more positive person, right? And when your energy changes in the long term, right, then these entities will find that because you're doing all these practices and your energies have become more and more positive, they're unable to come near you because your light is very strong. Then they will have no choice but to leave you. So until that happens, you may have to bear with it. So you have some ups and downs. When you practice, you notice that, wow, you feel very good and you don't have all these things bothering you anymore. And maybe you go out and work and everything, and then your energy dips down, or you had a bad day, and you start to have negative thoughts, and your energy become negative, and then the spirit will come in again. All right. So basically, you need to change your lifestyle to once you understand that you belong to one of these categories. I hope that answers your question. So it's not exactly, some people really don't like this, but because it implies that the situation will not just improve just like that. But of course, you can engage us to do the work for you professionally, and then we'll deal with everything, and you get a temporary respite. Right? But because if you are like this person, if you belong to this category, sooner or later you will somehow attract something from somewhere, from someone, or some place, or from some item. You will attract it again. So or you will bump into you again because you are an energy sensitive. For those people who are in this category, the life is really not easy. All right, it's really not easy, and a lot of people who are learning from us, learning infinity healing, they are those kind of people. They find that they have a need to understand more about energy, manage and deal with these sort of things.
Thank you, Kat.
You're welcome. And Edwin is saying, what are signs or symptoms of negative energy being sucked out by entity? Pale face, lack of energy. Yes. So usually these people, a common symptom is there's even a medical term for it. It's called chronic fatigue syndrome. You all know what chronic fatigue syndrome is? These people will always feel tired, will always feel fatigued, and they have no idea why. And it could be that they sleep 10 hours a day and they still feel that they wake up still drained, still tired, and it's because the energies are taking energy from them. All right, that's a general thing. And so they can have pale face, but general thing is this lack of energy. And because of the effect of the negative entities, the person become more and more negative. So typically, quite a lot of people, they either go into depression or become very negative mentally and emotionally, or they go on the other side, they go to aggression. All right, these are two extremes that are common. Some people will become very egotistical, but still kind of like not as bad as depression or very bad temper, but they become very egotistical. That also can happen. Okay. So Evan is asking, can one use strong mental mind to fight with evil entity? Yes, but strong and mental mind is not enough. You need to know how. You need to have positive energies to deal with negative energies. So some people, they are strong mentally, but they only know negative methods. It's like, so they scold the entities. They use swear words. They curse, and Cordelia mentioned some of the examples that she used. And if you use anger and all these negative energies, you end up providing energies for the entities to feed on, and they grow stronger. So you actually need to fight off these entities with positivity, and it's not easy because these entities are making your life difficult, and you just get angry, you just get upset, right? So so you really got to change your mindset about what constitutes fighting evil entities. It's not like it's not like Hollywood, and then you brandish a magic weapon, and then it looks violent. Actually, no. If you are a proper light worker, a real light worker working on the side of positive energies and light, you cannot use weapons of darkness whereby there's anger and hatred, that kind of thing. No, it doesn't work that way. All right. This at least for the path that we are in, we don't use those methods. So there's no aggression at all, and there's no real fighting. No, it's not. Okay. So surely Yvonne asked a question. Portals can reopen after being closed. Is that right? If so, what then? Yeah, so that's a very interesting question. Portals are usually opened by very high level entities, and there are ways to close the portal, um, and um, closing the portal is not enough, because if the entity who closed the portal is still there, the entity can open it up again. So in short, if anyone calls me to deal with the portal, you're not just paying me or asking me to deal with the portal, you're asking me to deal with the demon king or the demon god that opened the portal. I will deal with the entity that opened the portal. I have to deal with the entity. Otherwise, the entity will open the portal again. And then there are other technical things that need to be done. So yeah, so there are some people, they learn the ability to close the portal, and then they find that the portal can open again at some other different area, right? By the same entity that opened the portal. So it's not good enough. So for me, when I do deal with portals, I will go after the big boss that opened the portal. But that's because that's at my level. For a lot of people, they don't reach the level. Most people can't even close the portal, much less go after the entity that opened the portal. It is very high level stuff. So not many people can do this. So Shirley is asking, paintings of persons possible to harbor bad entity or energy? Yes. This is a personal example. So I used to share an apartment with my sister, right? And she has a friend who painted a painting while she was depressed, painted the face of a person, and the energies in it was so bad because the person was in depression, and really, and was conveying all the energies and emotions into the painting. The painting, had things in it, and I had to cleanse it. And after that, of course, I was staying there. Of course, I sealed and protect the whole house, and then I left it in the storeroom. But I didn't actually cleanse the energies of the painting because it's not meant for me to cleanse. I just remove the entity that will with it. So yeah. So some people, when they paint, most painters, they put in their energies and emotions, and if it's negative, it can be something that attracts some entity to it. So Xiaofang said, jumping out the window, I got this message from my mind many times before too, especially when I am standing at high place. Yes, yeah, that can happen. So the entities will try to send subliminals and messages to your mind. They try to instigate people to jump and commit suicide, that kind of thing. And Coral is saying, thank you, Kat. Yes, laugh out, that's me. Always tired, chronic fatigue syndrome. Yeah, so that is when entities are haunting people. So Xiaofang say, ha ha ha, sleeping 12 hours a day, still feeling tired. That's me. Have difficulty to wake up and feeling tired if I skip my daily meditation practice. Yeah, so those of you, if you have been doing our practices, you notice that it really help you. All right. So especially if you belong to this category, so please carry on doing it. Right. Those of you who are interested to learn, we actually conducted free of charge online over Zoom. You can join any of the groups. Find out from our website, CordyKet.com, under schedule. Right. Feel free to join us. And I take it that there are no further questions, right? We kind of overshot. Today's session is quite long, about 1.5 hours. So thank you everyone for having me. I hope you all learned something. This is a topic that I do get questions on, and probably could be broken down into separately, but I think it's good to address everything together. So thank you for joining me. If you feel you've benefited, you can also consider making a donation to support our online activities. How to donate will be in the groups. In the Facebook group is under the featured or announcements section. All right. Otherwise, it's free, and I will also be posting it to YouTube for people to view it for free. All right. Thank you for having me. I hope to see you all again. And those of you who are attending this live, there is a light meditation tomorrow. All right. Same time, 9 p.m. Malaysia or China time. Same place in the groups. All right. I'll be forwarding the Zoom link. Hope to see you there. Good day, good night, and goodbye.